Welcome back to Chasing Stars. This is Sally. As you can tell, my background changed. That's right, I'm actually back home in Taipei, Taiwan right now, starting my first week of self-quarantine. While you're self-quarantining, staying in your own house, home, or room, you gotta do something creative and magical. That's why I'm bringing you guys back a new episode of Chasing Stars. So before our guest hop on, let me introduce him a little bit. You might have seen him in countless Broadway tour, Off-Broadway regional theater performances. Saw us on screens such as The Blacklist, Love Possibly, Shooting Script. He is Matt from The Fantastics, Monty Navarro from A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder, but most of all, he is currently starring in Phantom of the Opera International Tour as Raoul. And the show is playing in Taipei Arena from November 19 to December 6. Buy your ticket right now. Well, before we're so excited to hop on the show, let's welcome today's guest, Matt Leisy.
Hi.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
You too. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Oh my gosh, I like it. We're all having fantasy on it.
Wear my phantom shirt. Yes.
Yes.
You haven't seen the show in what, like 12, 13 years?
Well,
that's the first time you saw
14 years, but in Taiwan. But I've also seen a couple of times in New York Majestic and for tour.
Oh, sweet. Oh, gotcha. And you live in LA, is that right?
Yeah, I was studying in LA for 3 years.
Nice. Someone said that you ran into some of us at the airport, is that right?
Oh yeah, Rachel.
Oh, it's funny because I was there too. We took the same bus, so I would have seen you. That's so funny.
We're literally on the same flight and like right next to each other.
No way. Oh, how funny.
That is so crazy. A little welcoming.
Oh, what's that? That is the coolest thing ever. Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh. That is so cool. Did you make that?
Yeah.
I love it. You're an artist as well. I love it.
Actor as well. Well, I've got some questions prepared for you.
Yes.
First of all, how's your self-quarantining? Like, how do you use the best time in your hotel room?
I think since we had to quarantine once when we were in Korea, I kind of knew the drill. So I know that you have to like have a lot of things to work on. Like puzzles are good. Trying to keep a routine is good. Like try to like get up and then it's good with this quarantine because the meals come to us. So it's like, okay, so at least you have a structure to the day. There's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And because with the other quarantine, we had kitchens, and so we were kind of making our own food. So it's nice that like there is some sort of structure, and then this day is quite interesting because we have the election going on. So this is a really nice way to distract myself because I couldn't sleep very well last night, and I woke up early and turned on CNN while all the numbers started to come in. So yeah, luckily I took like a little nap. But yeah, it's like also just getting used to the time zone, the time difference. So I haven't been sleeping as well as I would like, but we have 2 whole weeks to acclimate and catch up on sleep. You're quarantining as well?
Yeah, I'm actually in my home.
Oh, cool. But yeah, it's not so bad. We have balconies, so that's really nice. My fear was that we were going to be trapped in a room with no air and like light or whatever. So it's really sunny, and we can go outside and breathe the air. So that for me is what I need.
Nice. Well, bring back a little bit of time. I want to ask you, like, which show or which artist is your inspiration that made you go on this path of performing arts?
Oh wow, that's a really good question. I was a late bloomer to theater. I sang as a boy soprano and toured the world with the American Boy Choir, and so that kind of got me interested in the performing aspect. And it's funny, we were touring a lot, and so I kind of got used to the performing lifestyle as a kid. And then it was just something I always did. And then I guess if you sing, then you should do the musicals in high school. So I just did that, but I wasn't really passionate about theater at that point. It wasn't until college when I was trying to be an opera singer at Northwestern that I fell in love with theater and started auditioning for the plays and musicals and started doing those while I was there. That I kind of was, so yes, I guess to answer your question, like there was never really, I don't feel like there's ever really any defining moment. It was kind of like this gradual thing where I kind of just sort of leaned into what I enjoy and love in the moment. So I went through college, I finished my music degree, but also I basically got a theater degree as well. And just sort of like went to New York and then sort of just tried to be an actor, and it kind of just worked out because I was thinking like, well, maybe I could always come back to like classical singing, and because most people, you get your master's degree, but I thought like, well, for now let's be an actor, and so I never looked back. And so yeah, so I'm trying to think if there's any defining performance, or I mean, my mom tells me the first musical I saw was I was 3 years old, and they took us to Starlight Express in the West End because I grew up in England. So so we went to go see that, and I told my mom that I needed to go to the bathroom. So like she was ready to take me during the first act to like go to the toilet, but I wouldn't leave. I just like held on to myself because I was just like transfixed on the stage and just loved it. And I guess it's funny. I'm like kind of thinking as we're talking. I do remember like seeing productions as a kid, like a production of Oliver and other things, and being like, I really like that. But I was a really shy kid, so I don't even know if I told my parents that that was interesting to me. Yeah, I guess I did like some little stuff in middle school, just like in a summer camp. But like, I don't think I ever really like made that proclamation like a lot of people I know who are actors now, who just kind of like, I knew it when I was 8, I saw this production, and then I told my mom. I'm like, it's funny, I think that happens to people in Phantom, like, I want to be Christine, or blah, blah, blah. I'm going to be Christine when I get older. I just never really had that. Same thing with great performers. I mean, there's so many just like cliche. I look up to a whole big generation of actors before me. There's so many amazing people who've done this, and including people who've been in Phantom, who I have worked with. So it's cool to follow in their footsteps and continue the legacy that is Phantom of the Opera.
Yay, I love it. Let's continue the legacy. You mentioned a little bit that you grew up in England, and I've browsed a little bit of your actor's website and your resume. I'm always impressive when people did like a lot of accent and dialect. So I was wondering like your experience doing that, and which accent or dialect particularly you find really interesting or difficult to learn?
Yeah, I guess professionally, I've played a lot of British people on camera or in a lot of theatrical productions. I know I do a lot of period stuff and a lot of period British pieces, and I think it's the look and I grew up speaking with a British accent, and I think it was a pretty posh one too. So I think it all kind of comes together with casting, because it just comes naturally to me. And yeah, so I feel like the British accents come pretty easy to me. And honestly, beyond playing British, I don't think I've ever been hired to do any other kind of accent. I love accents. At one point, I was thinking about becoming a dialect coach because I just find it so fascinating. I think I did it on a couple productions like early on just to help out. They're like, you're half British. You should help out these people with their accents. And I would just be very gentle and patient. But that's one thing that I'm a stickler for accents, and I cringe so much when I hear bad British accents. So yeah, so yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't think I've ever had to do any. Like, I feel like at some point I'll probably have to play German. I've done Sound of Music a couple of times, but I feel like you don't really do accents for Sound of Music, which is kind of bizarre since they're in Austria. But anyway, so yeah, I would love to do more accent work, but for me, like British is like coming home. So once I started tapping into that, I was like, oh, this makes so much sense that it's easy for me because it's in my body. It's like the way I was speaking for 10 years before we moved to America, and then I quickly lost my accent. But I do a lot of voiceover as well, and oftentimes they want me to be British, so I'll do like audiobooks and voiceover jobs as a Brit, which makes me self-conscious because I'll go into the audition and it'll be all these people who speak with a British accent all the time. and then it'll be me who I just turn it on and off. But I always feel like a phony, but I'm like, no, Matt, like this is you. This is how you grew up. And like, just because you speak with a British accent or American accent now doesn't mean that's not authentic. So anyway, that's my experience with accents.
It's actually interesting you brought up your voiceover credit, because that's actually leads to my next question. My next question is, like, do you find difficulties doing voiceover since it's just a kind of performance that you can only use your voice?
Yeah. Oh, someone's singing. Oh, that's so funny. I heard someone in quarantine singing. I think that, yeah, obviously stage actors, or just actors in general, but I think especially stage actors, since we have to, like, our performance has to reach the back row, that I think our voices naturally tend to be more expressive. So I find that we can transfer well to voiceover. I mean, honestly, yeah, I think it's almost like the transition from acting on stage to acting on camera. It's like speaking on stage and then speaking on a microphone. It's like kind of like the same kind of thing. Like you just have to, it's like coloring your voice in a way, but honestly, it's just being truthful to what you're saying. So, I mean, I feel like as the camera picks up on the nuances of your acting, the microphone can pick up on the nuances in your voice and the acting through your voice. So honestly, I don't really focus too much on that. The one challenge for me in voiceover is just, it's just so technical. And oftentimes you're on the job and there'll be people, clients and the engineer, and they're just asking you to do that again, but then do this, and then, okay, do that again. It's just like a lot of remembering like all these different things. And then oftentimes there'll be some word that you can't pronounce, or it's hard to get through the sentence without a breath. And like, it's so technical. And there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen who are watching you, and it's just you in the booth by yourself. So it can get a little overwhelming and nitpicky, but I do enjoy it. It's fun. The challenge of doing like audiobooks is just like, you're alone in a booth for like hours on end. So like you get there at 10 in the morning, leave at 5, and you'll have breaks and stuff, but it's quite lonely. So those are the challenges for me for voiceover, but I do really enjoy it. And it's something that I'm hoping, because with Corona, I feel like a lot of stuff is happening remotely. So like being on tour, you have to leave, I kind of leaving my voiceover career behind. But I think now that a lot of things are happening remotely, I think next time I'm gonna go back home to New York and bring my recording equipment with me, just so I can do it from my hotel room.
Now tour, what people have been waiting for. Let's talk a little bit of the Phantom World Tour. Phantom has such a successful history of performing like literally everywhere in this world. What do you think is the main point in the story that makes the audience not tired of it, instead just keep revisiting the show?
Oh, that's so interesting. I almost wish I could interview some of our fans. I mean, I don't know if I would put you in the same category, but it sounds like you're a fan as well. Like, we have so many people who come back like so many times within the run in each city. And I also want to know, like, what is it that keeps them interested? And I think I'm sorry, I know what the question is about me, but I think for the fans, it's the nuances, and they love seeing understudies go on and to see how things change from night to night. I think that's definitely something that I enjoy whenever I have to see something again. I love to see different people in the roles and see how different actors, how their performances affect the people who do it normally. And because I love when understudies go on, or when new cast members come. We have some new cast members. We have a new Christine for Taiwan, who I'm excited to work with Kaylee. I haven't met her yet. It's so funny, we're in the same hotel, but I haven't met her yet because we're in quarantine. But yeah, I think Phantom, it's such a universal show, and there's so many themes and components to it that just resonate with pretty much all audiences. And I mean, gosh, we started in the Philippines, then Singapore, KL, all the way to Tel Aviv and Israel, Dubai, so like the Middle East, and then Korea, and now Taiwan. I have found that all the audiences, I mean, are incredible, and it speaks to all of them. See, I don't know if there's like one. I mean, Final Lair is probably a moment where you really feel for the Phantom. Of course, I play Raoul, so like I should be saying that. That's a moment that I feel like is consistently moving for the audience. And when I'm in the audience, especially when he's there with, after they leave, and then he's there with the monkey, and it's just like, oh, breaks my heart. So I mean, I think that's, I know. So but yeah, and then I mean, if anything, things that for me, I think that always resonate, because it's such a romantic show and so epic that I mean, I would love to include that the rooftop scene is a nice moment. But of course, like it's that funny thing that like chivalry and just like grand gestures of love can be kind of cheesy to some people, but I think people that come to Phantom do appreciate it. Yeah, it just speaks to everyone.
Do you remember like your feeling the moment when you knew that you are casted as Raoul for the tour?
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like it was a slow burn, because like the whole process for me auditioning for this was this kind of crazy. I'd never auditioned for Phantom before. I just feel like it's been running for so long, and I always felt like I was right for it. And I think I worked with a former Raoul who's like, "You'd be great," and I'm like, I don't think I'm tall enough. Don't they cast? I'm usually 6 feet tall and dark haired, and I just don't feel like that's me. And so the audition came up, and it was to understudy Raoul, and I had just come off of 2 long running shows, like the tour of A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder, and then this really cool off-Broadway production of Sweeney Todd that did really well. And so on both of those productions, I was understudying and standing by. I was riding my bike to Sweeney Todd, and I was thinking about whether or not to go to this audition. And I was kind of like, oh, I don't want to be an understudy anymore. And so I'm riding my bike, and then I look up, and I'm like, it's a bus. So I almost got hit by this bus, and then all over the bus was Phantom of the Opera. And so I was thinking, I was like, okay, I get it. This is a sign. I will go to this audition, and I will just do a great job. And the Broadway team, who it's the same people who do Broadway, like they will love me and put me in Broadway sometime or whatever. So like just do a good job, because from what I hear, a lot of times the people that to get cast in on Phantom, you come in many times before they actually cast you. So this was my first time, and so I went to the audition, and it went well. And so then the next audition, they brought me back, call back to understudy Raoul, but then also to understudy Andre, and then possibly to be a swing. So I was like, oh, so basically to be everybody. I think they asked me in the audition, oh, do you know music of the night? So basically I did like everything for them, and but I knew they really loved me. And so the casting director pulled me aside and was like, they're obsessed with you. They're just trying to figure out where to put you in the show. And would you, the next audition is for Hal Prince, and we're going to ideally put you up as a possible Andre. But if Hal doesn't see you in that way, would you be interested in being in the ensemble? And I mean, I told her, I was honest. I was like, well, ideally not, but I would love to audition for Hal and see what happens. So I went to the final callback, and I learned pretty quickly that it was just like the principal was there to be seen for Hal. Hal was there for like an hour, and it was for the producers and the whole team. I saw that there was like 2 options per principal role. And so I saw that, okay, so it was just me and my friend Kurt, who were there for Andre. And I saw a friend of mine who was there for Raoul, and he like looked kind of like, oh no, you're here. And I was like, oh no, I'm not here for Raoul. I'm here for Andre. Like, how cool would it be to go touring together? And so anyway, so the Raouls went in, and then I went in as an Andre. And I just could tell from the energy, like how in the room just weren't kind of loving me as much as the last time. And so Hal cut me off and said, let's look at the Raoul packet. And so we started, I sang, and then we did the dressing room scene a few times, and he gave me all this really specific direction, and I was really enjoying working with him in that. And then I left, and then they're like, oh, can you come back in, and we're going to put you on tape singing All I Ask of You for Andrew Lloyd Webber, who wasn't able to be there because he has to sign off on us. And so then I went in and did that, and our lovely music supervisor, Kristen Blodgett, coached me on it. And because they're very specific about like how things sound and the vowels and the consonants. And so I did that. And then the producers got up and shook my hand, and And then I left and I was like, huh. So I thought I was auditioning for Andre, and now I'm Raoul, and I think I got it. So then I rode my bike back to meet my friend. We had scheduled like a little catch up, and so we were just like sitting by the Hudson River, and she had been she was formerly in Phantom on the U.S. tour, and she was like, I think you got that. So I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And so once Andrew Lloyd Webber got a chance to watch the videos, I think it was like a week later, I got the call saying that I was going to be cast. And so then I think it was just that weird thing of like, oh, that's really cool, I got a job. And then, but then there's of course like all the logistics, like negotiating and blah, blah, blah. So then when it finally came time that like we were all happy, I was like, I guess I'm doing this now. And then, so I kind of came to Manila not knowing what to expect. And I was just so pleased. Everything just felt so cool. And the people from London with Really Useful Group were there, and we were making like music videos for the show that haven't come out yet. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but yeah, we're just doing like really cool stuff and promos and yeah, and then here we are. So I mean, yeah, it was one of those weird things where I think I did like a little happy dance, like when I got the call saying I got the job, but I think I was just kind of like, well, I don't know if I'm going to do it yet. So then don't get too excited. So it was just a weird thing. And then fast forward to like me now, and I'll have these moments where I'm like pinching myself. I'm like, you're Raoul in Fancy for the Opera. Like it's weird. It's taken a long time to sink in. So yeah, I think I'll be reminded for sure when we're at the Taipei Arena and I look out there and like, wow, oh yeah, you're in Phantom. Like sometimes I say that to my actors on stage. Like I'll be like, we're in Phantom of the Opera. It's just so funny. Like you just kind of forget every once in a while. You're like, oh yeah, I'm just doing my job, and then like, wow, this is like one of the most iconic shows ever, and here we are doing it. So weird.
That is funny. That is probably the funniest story I've ever heard about getting the call.
Oh, right.
My next question, if you get to play any other character, maybe not the choice of Andre, I don't know, since you audition it, like which other character you would like to play?
Yeah, I think yeah, like realistically, that would be the other role that they would cast me in. I mean, in a world of gender bending, I feel like Madame Giry is so mysterious and cool and I feel like this is a common answer with people. I feel like I'd have a good time with her. Carlotta would be fun, but I feel like I'd always be worrying about my voice. So I wouldn't want to have to deal with that. Yeah, I don't really have any interest in playing Phantom. I know a lot of Raouls sometimes go on to playing Phantom afterwards, and I mean maybe one day, but I just don't know. It's not a role that really speaks to me as of right now. So, but yeah, it's fun. I do cameo videos and stuff, and someone had asked me to do Music of the Night, and so I was like, oh, that's a really good song after I sang it.
I love Matt Giry. Like she's one of my favorite.
Ooh, she's across the hall from me, so we sometimes like we'll go out to get our food that they put outside, and then we go run back in our room.
Next question. What do you think is the lesson for Raoul in the show? Like, what's your perspective towards this character? What's his character arc?
Yeah, I feel like his arc is that he comes off a little bit in the beginning as being a little privileged and entitled and possibly a little arrogant, and because he's always had everything go his way. And I think the lesson for him is to be less selfish, and because I feel like everything is just kind of, he's gotten whatever he wanted, including like his dalliance. Like any girl he's ever been interested in has worked out for him because he's handsome and charming and has money. And so I think, yeah, with Christine, I always say that she's a challenge to him because she doesn't automatically like fully give in like to loving him. There's like always like Raoul always knows there's something holding her back, and quickly realizes that it's this phantom person. And so yeah, I think it's his lesson is that there's more to life than his own needs, and that it's like by truly letting yourself fall in love is that you put yourself second and do whatever it takes to protect and be with the person that you know you're supposed to be with. So yeah, I think it's becoming more selfless, and I think he I mean, at least my version, like he becomes more brave. I don't feel like in the beginning he would necessarily risk his life for anything. And so then he puts himself on the line, like knowing full well like how dangerous the Phantom can be when he's mad. That that it might not work out so well for him, but he's determined to go find Christine and save her. And so yeah, so he's a lot more like brave and direct than I tend to be. But I feel like he's rubbed off on me a little bit. I've been better about speaking up when things aren't right, and if something bothers me, confronting the issue. And so yeah, so it's funny. I feel like that's something about playing a role for a while. Like it kind of seeps into your life a bit. So so I've enjoyed enjoyed that.
Do you have any words like to the camera, to the fans around?
Absolutely. Like the biggest gift I think from starting my Phantom journey has just been the love of you guys. Like I mean, I've heard that the fans are incredible, but you have exceeded my expectations, and I'm like honestly like just overwhelmed by the love and support that I've been given since starting in Phantom last year. And it's one of the best things about the job. I love it. I love you guys, and thank you for your support and continuing to follow my craziness and supporting me. And I look forward to more memories and seeing you more often. And hopefully as the world gets somewhat back to whatever this new normal is, hopefully get to actually interact with you again, because it's been kind of crazy the last not quite year, but since COVID hit, just not being able to see anyone at the stage door has been kind of crazy. Like all our interactions have been online. So I look forward to actually having that face-to-face contact again. And thank you. And I look forward to performing for you at the Taipei Arena.
A little treat for Taiwan fans. I'm gonna teach you a little bit of Chinese so you can say it.
Oh yeah, okay. Well,
okay.
Have patience.
Okay, translation first. So it's basically to the Phantom's fans of Taiwan, I love you guys, but like in Chinese.
Oh, I love it. All right, let's give it a go.
歌剧 Follow me.
歌剧
歌剧魅影
魅影
That's the Chinese of Phantom of the Opera.
歌剧魅影
台湾的粉丝的粉丝
The fansu.
Yeah, that's Taiwan's fan.
Oh, okay. The fansu.
Okay, so lastly, 我爱你们.
我爱你们.
Yeah, that's I love you guys.
Oh, 我爱你们.
And now, like the entire thing. Wanna try it?
Oh my god. Can we do it? Can we 我爱你们. What's the first part?
歌剧魅影.
Can we do it in parts?
Okay,
yeah.
歌剧魅影. 台湾的粉丝.
Taiwan what?
台湾的粉丝.
Taiwan 的粉丝.
我爱你们.
我爱你们.
Yay!
I'm so sorry. I'm so bad.
That's great.
I apologize for butchering your pretty language.
No, okay. I'm really excited to see the show. Stay healthy, stay safe, and we can't wait to see you guys.
Oh, I look forward to it. Hopefully we can connect. I don't know what the rules are.
Yeah, I was hoping to give you this though.
No, hopefully there's got to be some. I mean, everything's so under control here that I'm hoping that we can at least say hi after the show or something. We'll see. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Matt, today for joining me.
Sally, and hopefully I'll see you after the show.
You will.
Yes, I love it. All right,
Bye.
take care.
Take care.
You too.